Hello and welcome to a new and different type of video that I'm going to be creating. This is something I'm going to be doing every month. I put a poll out not so long ago and people voted that they want to see me have a little chat about my AA S510, and that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm going to be talking about things like reliability. Am I satisfied with it? What are my future plans with it? Do I tend to sell it or buy another one in the future? I've owned this AA S510 since 2020. That's about 4 years at the time of recording this. So it's had its fair share of use and abuse. Now, what was the reason for me buying this? Well, at the time, Lofty, as you know, who features on my channel sometimes, comes rat shooting with me and things like that. He was after his first PCP, but he was on a bit of a budget. At the time, I had a BSA Ultra SE, which I wasn't planning on selling, but I know that he was after one. I'd gone over to Liquid Steel Designs for a completely unrelated matter. I think I was just collecting something. And as I've gone in there, I noticed this was just sat on the shelf, just right in front. And when I saw that, I just had to have it. And it was weird because I'd gone there to collect something, and actually just to go collect some milk and cheese. And then I've come out of there with this brand new AA S510, and I didn't even come home with any milk and cheese. The reason why I just bought it there and then, it was because the price they offered me was a really good price. It certainly looks different to any other AA S510 that you see because of the GRS stock. The brand is a really good brand. It's well known, well made, they're built to last, and this is something that I was planning to buy and keep for a long time. And this way I could sell my BSA Ultra to Lofty so that he had his own and first PCP, and then we can go out together and do some ratting. The good thing as well with the S510, it comes with the accu-tac silencer as standard, so you don't have to pay for any additional silencers. It's super quiet. I've got the GRS Sporty Green camo stock on as well, which is an absolute fantastic looker. It's also got the adjustable butt pad, it's got an adjustable cheek rest, and depending on what scope you're using, and like me, I change my scopes quite often, where they're at different heights, you can easily just adjust that cheek rest and get it comfortable for where your eye needs to be. Being a 177, why did I choose that? Well, 177 is a lot flatter shooting than a 2.2 in sub 12. So it just made sense to me, so I can get this 177 and it just covers all grounds. So if I'm going out to shoot rats, rabbits, squirrels, pigeons, crows, or anything like that, because they're all at different distances, particularly your rabbits and your rats, there's not as much holdover that you need when you're shooting a 177. So that's why I went with a 177 sub 12. You don't really get many attachment options with the standard S510. If you look at the S510 Tactical, yeah, it's absolutely just full of rails and attachments. You can stick whatever you want on, but for my intended purpose, this is perfect for me. The only thing I've done was I've got a sling stud at the front, I've got a sling stud at the back, just so I can attach a bipod, and then I can attach a sling as well. The sling that I use is actually a BSA sling. Now, I have had jack pike slings, which were absolutely terrible. They just fall apart at the exact same point. It was just a waste of money. I've tried paracord slings, but they're not adjustable and they're really hard. They really do rub on your shoulder, so didn't like that. BSA slings, I've got about 3 of them, never replaced one. They're really thick and padded, and they're just really cheap to buy as well, and I can't go wrong with a BSA sling. This particular S510 was actually the non-regulated version, and it wasn't long before I sent this off to the rat works to get some work done. And the work that I got done was it had a lane regulator fitted, and it also got rid of the T-bar at the front, so it just uses a standard fill probe. Also, it now has double gauges, so I have the fill pressure at the front and I also have the reg pressure underneath here. I actually have fitted an aftermarket hammer spring because the old one just seemed to be going a little bit soft on me, so I decided that I would buy a lane hammer spring, and the one which I bought was the softest one. This has also had some custom work done by Liquid Steel Designs. Now, I've never really had a problem with any type of rust, and this has been out in all weathers, and it's actually been raining this morning, and this is currently soaking wet now. What I had done was, I did see a little bit of rusting, so got it sent off. I told Jeff at Liquid Steel Designs that I don't want any attention to be taken away from the stock, so I wanted the Cerakote to be pretty much the same colour as it is now. So the barrel, the cylinder, the silencer, the action down here has all been Cerakoted. I've also got this side plate Cerakoted as well, a slightly different colour, it's like a bronzy colour. And Jeff has also laser engraved down that side plate. So there is a little bit of customization that he's just stuck onto there. And you've also got the Liquid Steel Designs laser engraved down the barrel as well on both sides. The reg pressure on this S510 177 sub 12 is currently around 100 bar. The pressure gauge is not 100% accurate because it's the analog ones. What I would like to see is companies start making a digital gauge at 23 millimeters. The smallest digital gauge that I can find is about 25 millimeter. It's just a bit too big. If you could get digital gauges to fit this, I would immediately fit them because it'd be so much better. So hopefully any companies that are listening start making some of these digital gauges in a smaller size. That would really, really help. Now I have 3 magazines with this, and I keep them in this 3D printed box. In a 177 they hold 10 pellets, and with 3 magazines there, if I'm going out ratting where I'm shooting quite a lot, 30 pellets and 3 magazines will do me just nicely. Some of you keen-eye viewers will notice I've got a piece of Velcro just attached to the side here, and the reason for that is when I was going out shooting with my GoPro, the microphone on a GoPro is awful. So what I do now, I've got some new microphones and I can actually attach one of these microphones to that there. So when I'm out shooting, you're going to get much better audio quality for the videos that I'm making. About 2 years ago, I was having a problem with my safety catch. It was getting to the point where, with the safety catch being on the trigger here, when you would push it, there was hardly any resistance, and it got to the point where I could just roll it like that and the safety catch was coming on and off with no resistance. So I contacted Air Arms, just asked them for a bit of advice. They sent me some parts free of charge, mind, which was nice of Air Arms, and all it was the ball bearing had just got smaller and smaller. Very easy fix. I actually made a video of this just to help other people out who had a similar problem. Very simple, just replace those parts and now the safety catch just works perfect again. But it was nice of Air Arms to send me the parts free of charge. Every air rifle shooter has their own cleaning regime. Some people don't clean the barrel at all, some people do it religiously, let's say every 100, 200 pellets. For this particular one, it is about every 2,000 pellets I start getting the odd flyer. That's where I'll clean the barrel. I use Napier Ergon oil, Napier patches, give it about 8 pull-throughs until it starts coming out clean, starts coming out dry, then I'll fire another 30 odd pellets once I've cleaned it, and then it's just back singing again. Another quick one as well, the Ratworks mentioned a couple of years ago on Facebook, they was telling people don't use Napier Ergon oil. They say it's not very good, but I don't have a problem with it. If you are using Napier Ergon oil, there's nothing wrong with it, don't worry about that. So that's just something that I don't agree with the Ratworks, and you won't have any problems using it. Ever since I've owned this, I've only ever used Air Arms pellets, the 8.4 grain. That just seems to be the pellet that it likes. It's never shot anything else. I've never needed to. However, in the last few months, it's just started being a little bit funny. I was getting random flyers. Give the barrel a clean, try again. No, wasn't happening. So I thought, right, I'll try some different pellets, and then it started enjoying the BSA Gold Star 8.64 grain, and it shoots them pretty well, which was quite surprising. Then I also tried some JSB heavies, the 10.34 grain, and now it shoots them even better. So currently at the moment, even though it's shooting the Air Arms Diablo 8.4 grain really well for years, it's now favouring the JSB 10.34 grain pellets. I'm not quite sure why, but works very well, and I'll continue to use the pellet that it favours best. I've also tested slugs in this. I've tested quite a big variation of slugs, I even made a video on it. This in sub 12 is not a slug shooter. It doesn't like any slug I've ever tried, so I'll just continue to use pellets. Pellets are cheaper as well generally, and they just work. So for this, I'm going to continue using pellets. When I first got hold of this S510, I was absolutely loving that side lever. I've never owned a rifle with a side lever before, and it does make cocking a lot easier than a bolt. However, the S510 is quite a sharp side lever, and it wasn't long before I had a quick look around and found out that you could buy a biathlon lever pretty cheap, around 15–20 pounds roughly at the time, that you can just push over the end, and it just makes it so much easier. With this one, I don't think they sell this one anymore, but you can easily find them on eBay. Just type them in, biathlon lever, and there's all different types now, 3D printed ones and there's aluminium ones. This one, you just slip on and glue it, and I didn't put any glue on at first, so I've actually lost this biathlon lever twice in the first year that I got it. And both times, somehow, I found them both probably about a week later when I'm just walking through a field. So really lucky I've still got this one. I put some stronger glue on now, and it hasn't come off since, and it's just worked absolutely perfect. Now's a good time to talk about reliability, and within that time, in the 4 years, this has been used quite a lot, so I've certainly got to know the rifle, and within that time, it's only had one major issue really, and that was just a very small leak where I was losing about 10 bar a night. So if I wanted to go out ratting or do any shooting, I still could. But just one small leak in 4 years, thought I'll just send it to Liquid Steel Designs, Jeff, and he can just do a service on it. And then ever since then, it hasn't had a single problem since then. As I've mentioned, reliability has been very good with this, but I have noticed in probably the last year, the power has just been getting a little bit lower each time. Now, it didn't really bother me too much, so I was running at about 10.5 foot-pounds, which is pretty acceptable, certainly. But then, just noticed it started going to 10.3, then it was 10.1. Still shooting really, really well, so I wasn't really concerned. But then it got into the point where it was shooting at about 9.8, 9.7 foot-pounds, and at that point I thought, I've got to investigate this. What I found out was there's a bolt just at the back in the action here, and when that was tightened, I don't know what the reason was, but when it was fully tightened, it may have been squashing the mechanism or squashing the spring somehow. When it was fully tightened, like it should be, I wasn't getting the power. If I just crack that off, that tiny little bit, all of a sudden power just jumped right up. So mine is just a little bit loose, the bolt at the back, it's completely safe, it's not going to go anywhere because it's bolted into the stock. And ever since then, power just went boom. It's now 11.9 foot-pounds now. It's right up there. Plus I've got the anti-tamper screw just on the side, so I can actually just screw that in just to reduce the power, so I'm not going onto any illegal foot-pounds. But yeah, the power's right up there, and that's probably why it's shooting the JSB 10.34 grain pellets really, really well. As we're talking about reliability and general wear and tear, in the first 6 months of owning this, I actually had a problem with indexing the magazine. So what would happen is when you cock the rifle, there's an arm which goes up and it just pushes the magazine drum round to load the next pellet. With the old style that air arms were using when they first brought this rifle out, it was a very weak and poor design. So what would happen is that little indexing arm would bend and just get weaker over time. I contacted Air Arms to explain the problem. They told me, they asked for the serial number, I told them the serial number, they said I was using the old one, so they sent me a replacement out for free, and once I've installed that, that's been in there for about 3.5 years now, not a single issue. It's a much stronger, more reliable design, and again, kudos to Air Arms. Another general little problem I've had, and they just sent me the parts for free, same as the safety catch issue. So again, that's good customer service by Air Arms. From doing all these little bits of work on this rifle, I've found that this is quite an easy air rifle to strip apart and have a little tinker with, only if you know exactly what you're doing. Just play it as safe as possible. But they are pretty simple inside, so if there's any maintenance that does need doing, they are pretty simple to work on. This rifle is actually quite a heavy rifle, but that doesn't bother me too much because it's generally going to be sat on a tripod when I'm out shooting. It is a little bit longer than what I'd like, but because of how long I've had it, this is something that's going to be in my arsenal for quite a long time, because I am super happy with how this rifle performs, reliability and things like that, and it's such a comfortable rifle to hold as well. So that's quite a lot of information I've explained about my own personal Air Arms S510. What are my plans with this rifle? I don't plan on getting rid of it anytime soon. I'm not going to be selling it. Really happy with the rifle. I know it inside and out pretty much. I know how accurate it is. I know what work's gone onto it. I've had quite a lot of my own custom work gone onto it with the Cerakoting, the regulator installed, double gauges, no T-bar, aftermarket lane, hammer spring. It's shooting really well. I'm really happy with it. I've got no plans to get rid of this. This is staying with me for, I can imagine, quite another good fair amount of years just yet. And now the question is, which one would you prefer? If I had to choose one between the AA S510 177 or my Virac HW100 Thing is about that is I can't decide. Two different rifles, both as good as each other in completely different ways. There's not a chance I'm going to be deciding between these two. It's like choosing which child you prefer. You can't choose. I'll be keeping this for a while, and the HW100 I'll be keeping for a while. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video where I've talked about my S510. Hopefully it's answered a lot of the questions. If there are any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I am going to be doing these every month. There's going to be something similar where I'll talk about a different rifle or a different gun. I'll actually be having interviews with other people. So there's going to be Lofty, there'll be Robin Foxer said he wants to get involved, Triple G, which is Roger Late. So these types of videos are going to be every month. However, this is going to be the only one that's on YouTube because YouTube are really cracking down on my channel and I've got to be careful. All the next videos for these are going to be on my Patreon. So I've left a link in the video just below. I have to protect my content because YouTube are really trying to strike me down here. I've already had one strike. If you get 3, they delete your channel. I can't take that risk. Vermin Control Scotland had this problem where they deleted his channel and he had to start again. YouTube does not like shooting channels. So I hope you understand why I've had to do this. And if you do like the content that I'm putting out and you want to support me, you can support me on Patreon. Patreon isn't just going to be just these types of videos as well, even though they'll be exclusive to them. There's going to be extended videos, so my YouTube channel will continue as normal. I can't reiterate that strongly enough. It will continue as normal. However, more graphic content, extended footage will be on my Patreon, plus more exclusive content behind the scenes, things like that. I've now even got discount merchandise coming. So I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. I hope you like these types of videos and I hope to see you on the next one.